Hi everyone, I'm back. Welcome back. Thank you for joining me yet again. I think we're all still reliving Eurovision 2023. I know I am, definitely, and that's what I'm going to do again right now because I would like to share with you my updated top 10, which is a little bit different from what it was before. And that does happen quite a lot, or all the time, really. Every year it changes at least a little bit because when you see live performances, your mind changes on some songs, some things grow on you, other things go off you a little bit, and then you look at your ranking from what it was before and you think, wow, that's actually quite different now. So, yeah, I'd like to share with you my updated top 10 right now after the show has ended. So I did do a top 10 video at the start of April, I think it was, and that was when all the songs were released, and that did change again. I think I changed it for the final time, maybe the end of April, start of May, before the shows actually started. So I'm just going to remind myself right now of what that top 10 was at that point, and it is different now. So I had Israel number 10, number 9, UK, and then Iceland, Moldova, Italy, Sweden, Norway, Czechia, number 2, Austria, and my winner, Finland, which, by the way, has not changed. I can just say that right now. That is not going to change. So Finland is still my number 1 and probably always will be. So that was my top 10 at that point, about a month, well, less than a month ago, before the semi-finals actually started. So I can tell you that the UK and Iceland are no longer in my top 10, but I do still like them, especially Iceland. It was always something that I wanted to qualify, but it's a shame it didn't, but I do really like that song. And there's other songs I'll mention briefly that are not in my top 10, but I do still really like. And some of them I like even more after the live performance, like Estonia. I know Bridges, it wasn't my personal winner of the national final, but I can see now, I can really see why she did well and why she got in that top 10. I think it's deserved. With the juries as well, especially. We always knew that that would be a jury favourite. I remember predicting, I don't know if I said this in a video, but I was thinking it, that this could be like a North Macedonia 2019 moment of the year, and it kind of was, maybe not that much, but it really was a jury favourite, and it was a really good performance. So yeah, I'm happy for Estonia, and I do like the song a lot more now. Also, Ukraine as well, I really like that. I love the staging. I thought they did a great job with that. And Lithuania, even Cyprus grew on me quite a bit actually, and Switzerland as well. I mean, there's loads of songs that are not in my top 10 that I still like. And I think actually the only one of the year that I really didn't like is Romania. And that's it. Even Croatia, like, I was never a fan of Croatia's song, but it is kind of entertaining and memorable. So I don't dislike it now as much as I did before. So yeah, I liked almost every song in some way, pretty much. So it's a very, very strong year. So I'm just looking at my new top 10, and it's actually quite similar to the real top 10, but just in a different order, or at least most of it is quite similar. So I'll start with my new number 10, as it is right now, but again, this could change all over again at some point. Who knows? It could just keep changing. But my number 10 is Moldova. So I like it enough to just about keep it in my top 10. I've always liked it. It's always been like my kind of thing, this whole folk sound. I do tend to like that kind of thing, a little bit like Fouleng from France last year, and you know, Go A. I tend to be drawn to that kind of song, so yeah, it's something that I was always going to like. Always found the chorus very, very catchy. Love this whole spiritual pagan theme. I've moved it down my ranking a few places because of, I said before, I'm taking live performance into account in this ranking as well as the actual song. And if I think about the live performance, that's where it's kind of missing something for me. I don't know what it is, but I feel like it didn't quite come alive as much as it could have done, but I can't really explain why. I mean, it is still good live, but yeah, I've moved it down a little bit, but I still like it. And then my number 9 is Austria, Who the Hell is Edgar? And this has been moved down quite a lot as well. It was my number 2 at one point. It was always in my top 3, my number 2 or my number 3. So yeah, it's gone down a bit. And again, this is definitely because of staging and live performance. I think most people agree that the live performance and the staging was a little bit underwhelming, or there was just something not quite there, there was something missing. I mean, I don't know what else you could do in terms of staging with that song, to be fair. I don't know what else they could have done, so it was fine. But it was always a fan favourite right from the start. But it didn't really work out that well in the end. It didn't quite come together as much as we thought it would. But I still love it. I always have. I mean, we've never had a song about Edgar Allan Poe before. I think it will always be one of those iconic moments of the year. It'll always be one of the fan favourites of the year. You know, really fun, really catchy, and quite clever as well. I've always thought the meaning and the lyrics are really clever and meaningful. So yeah, I still really like it enough to want to have it in my top 10 still. My number 8 is Vesna from Czechia, and this is another song that I've always loved right from the start. I remember the first time I heard this all the way back. Was it before Christmas in December or like early January? Something like that. The first time I heard it, I absolutely loved it, like straight away. I've always found that chorus so catchy and addictive and very anthemic. I've always loved that. The problem is, I remember when they started doing the pre-parties, they didn't sound that good. And I remember people thinking, oh no, this could actually not do well, like this could flop. But in Eurovision in Liverpool, they sounded fine, you know, it did improve a lot. And I actually liked the whole performance. I really liked the choreography that they did. And they sounded good too. So yeah, I still love this, and I think it is actually my favourite Czech entry ever. I know there's not that many of them over the years, but I think it is their best. So next up, I've got Australia, Voyager. So I've got Australia and Czechia next to each other, and I think they're actually next to each other on the actual scoreboard as well, 9th and 8th. So yeah, it is quite similar to the real top 10. So yeah, Voyager, I love this. I said that Czechia, Vesna is my favourite Czech entry. I think this could be my favourite Australian entry, I think. And I hope they continue as well. I hope this has made them inspired to carry on in Eurovision. I don't know if they were supposed to be leaving next year, but they've done really well. You know, they got top 10. That's amazing. So maybe Australia could be back next year, hopefully, because I think they've done so well with this. The song itself, you know, one of the best rock songs of the year, I think. But also, one of the reasons why I really like it is because not just the song, but the band themselves, like their personality, they're so funny and entertaining. Like, I follow them on social media. I followed their journey in Eurovision on social media, and they're all just so funny, and they got on so well with everyone, so it's their personality as well as the song for me. And next up, I've got Gustav from Belgium. Now, what I love about this is the glow up it had and the journey we had with this song. Because if you think all the way back to the national final, when this won, nobody really liked it. Like, we were all, or most of us were all criticizing it, and we didn't like it. I didn't like it at first. But then it turned into this huge fan favourite and crowd pleaser as well. The crowd loved this. I was watching it in the arena in the jury show, the semi-final 2 jury show, and we loved it. The audience were just on their feet having such a good time. So it turned into such a favourite. Like, it went from not being loved that much to being loved. And I love that journey that it had. So I'm happy it's in the top 10. Probably my favourite Belgian entry in a good few years, I would say. Yeah, definitely. It was so much fun. I think it actually did better with the jury than the televote, which I don't think we'd really expect at first, but the jury loved it. And well done, Belgium. Like, I apologise. I think we all apologise for doubting you at first. But now we are a fan of Because of You. I definitely am. So Belgium and Australia, before, they were always just outside my top 10, but now they're both in my top 10. And now it's my top 5. So my number 5 is Norway, Queen of the Kings. Always been a favourite of mine. I've always loved this. It's always been in my top 5, so it hasn't really changed that much. I just love Norway in Eurovision. They're just so diverse and just so good. They're one of my favourite countries in Eurovision. I've always said that. Norway are one of my favourite countries, and they can win again at some point soon. Definitely, I can see that happening. And this is a banger. I love this. It's always been, again, a fan favourite. So addictive, gets stuck in your head all the time. So yeah, I've always loved this. The only thing I'll say about this is the staging, because I always thought or hoped that they'd change it a little bit after Melody Grand Prix. They actually didn't. They kept it pretty much exactly the same. But I think the MGP performance was very dark, and I thought maybe they just add more to it or just put some more things in there, but they never did. So that's the only critique I'll give it, is that I thought they could have done just a little bit more to fill the stage and have on the stage. It was quite dark, but she sings it very well with that whistle note as well. I don't know why juries never seem to like Norway. You think they'd like this, you know, she's got that whistle note. It's very modern and contemporary. But yeah, juries over the past few years are not very generous to Norway. I don't know why, but luckily she did very, very well with the televote. I think that's deserved. Loads of people love this, and yeah, it'll always be a favourite of mine of the year. So my 4th place is the actual 4th place in the final, and that's Italy, Marco Mengoni. Now, I said about Norway being one of my favourite countries in Eurovision. Well, Italy is definitely another one of my favourite countries, if not maybe even like my ultimate favourite country in Eurovision. They can do no wrong. Like, Italy do not know how to fail in Eurovision. Like, they're always in that top 10, deservedly. They are the champions, the kings of Eurovision, I think. And this, yet again, is another great entry. And I can definitely see why it did so well, especially with the jury. Like, we knew that the juries would love this, so that's no surprise at all. It's one of those very powerful anthemic ballads, and it's the only ballad in my top 10, actually. So at least I got at least one ballad in there. Probably my favourite ballad of the year, I'd say. And Italy are good at Italian ballads. And yeah, good job, Italy. Another deserved top 5 placement, I think. So we are in my top 3, and my number 3 is Tattoo, Loreen, Sweden. So if you watch my videos, you're probably thinking, wow, that's quite generous coming from you. You know, I mean, I've always been very, well, I never wanted this to win. You know, this was never my winner, even though I did kind of expect it to. I tried to prepare myself for it to win, but I never wanted it to. You know, I've never been a supporter of this victory, really. I always thought, oh, okay, Loreen is back. She's going to win again. Sweden are going to get overrated by the juries yet again, which I still think they did. Like, we knew it was going to win the jury, like, that's not a shock. But 340 points from the jury, is that not a bit much? I do think that's a little bit too much. I'm not going to lie. I knew it would win the jury, but by that much, yeah, I do think that's a bit much. And I've just always thought, you know, the whole thing is just very, it just makes it not very exciting, because we knew what was going to happen. You know, it was predictable, anticlimactic. The reaction was not great. You know, we all know what that reaction was like, from the crowd chanting for Finland. I've watched people's reaction videos from people who were in the village, and not just that, but any reaction video to the results. Most people were not happy. Like, there are people out there who are happy that Loreen won, like, obviously there are, but you hear mostly from the people that were not happy. So yeah, there's still a lot of controversy around this, definitely. So yeah, I wasn't excited at all when it won. I think most people weren't, really. But if you put all of that aside, if you put like the victory aside and focus on Tattoo, I do actually like Tattoo. I always have, and it's always been in my top 5, actually, despite all my critique of it winning. I really like the chorus, probably my favourite part of the song. I always find myself singing along to it as well. I like the instrumental as well, the that goes all the way through it. I like that. I like the staging. There's this one shot towards the end, before the final chorus, I think, where she's just stood there looking out at the stage, and there's this blue background behind her that looks really good on camera, and then she belts out that final chorus. It's great, you know, I really like it, it's great. So I've always liked Tattoo. It's just not what I was personally supporting in terms of winning, as you all know. But yeah, it's not all bad. I still like it. Also, I'm not gonna lie, I do tend to be quite critical of Sweden in Eurovision in general. Like, over the past few years, I've just been very aware of how generous the juries are to them, like almost every single year, and I just don't think it's always deserved. So yeah, I do, like, there's loads of Swedish entries that I love, and of course they are like a powerhouse of Eurovision. I just think if you put that together with the fact that Loreen has come back, I think that's just part of what just made me just a little bit negative towards it. Not to Loreen herself, like she's amazing, she's an amazing performer. You know, both of her Eurovision entries now have had, you know, great stagings, iconic performances, and she's won it twice, and that's amazing, you know, good for her. I mean, not sure who else could do that really apart from Loreen. So if it was going to happen, it probably would have happened to Loreen. But I think the problem I have is that it just makes it all a bit kind of boring and anticlimactic. So that's that side of it. But I do like Tattoo as a song, so that's fine. So my new number two is something that's grown on me a lot. It wasn't even in my top 10 to start with, but now I think after seeing it live is what made me really like it a lot more. And that is Noah Carell from Israel, Unicorn. This is a new favourite of mine, and like I said, I think it's because of that performance. It's just so amazing. And I think it deserved to do as well as it did. I've seen a few people say they don't really like the fact it did that well, but I think it deserved it. Like, I can completely see why it did as well as it did. That performance is one of the best, I think, in terms of overall performances and stagings. I love the choreography. When you watch it, it's like you're watching not like a competition, not something competing, but a performance on a worldwide stage, like the MTV Music Awards, from a huge star like Ariana Grande, Beyonce. You know, it gives you that kind of feeling. That's why it's so impressive, I think. That choreography is just amazing. And at the end, there's that huge explosion of fireworks. It's just really impressive. And like I said, it's like it's not really even part of a competition. Like, it's not really competing for anything. It's just like you're watching an amazing performance at somebody in their own concert, not even in a competition with other songs. So yeah, it's in a league of its own, I think is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, Unicorn has really grown on me. I've always liked it. I think at first I had it at like 14th, 13th or something, and then it just kept going on me more and more, slowly but surely. And now, especially after seeing it live, it's one of my favourites and one of the best overall performances of the night, I think. And now we talk about my winner, Cha Cha Cha, again. I don't even know what else I can say about this. Like, I've spoken so much about it. Like, I've still got a lot to talk about this, so I'll try not to be too long. But of course, you know how much I love this, and this will always be my winner of the year. I do have something to reveal, an announcement to make, if you will. So I started putting together a list of my favourite entries of all time, just for fun. It's something that I might not even share publicly, or not yet anyway. It's just something I'm putting together just for the fun of it. So my favourite entries of all time, ever. And Cha 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 is actually my number two, like, of all time. So that is impressive. I don't know if that's how I'm feeling right now, and over the years it might change. But I actually think that this is one of my favourite Eurovision songs of all time, like, ever. And I don't think that will change. I think this will go down in history as one of those iconic moments in Eurovision. It already has, actually. Like, people are still talking about this. It's everywhere. This has gone viral. Like, this song, and Karia himself, it's just everywhere. Like, it's dominating the charts, all over TikTok. It's worldwide. Americans are loving it. People are singing it. Like, I've heard people singing Cha 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 when I've been in my local town. Like, I walk past somebody and they're singing Cha Cha Cha. Like, this is an international worldwide hit, even if it didn't win. Like, he definitely has won in his own way, even if he didn't win, like, you know, officially. He is still the people's champion. And, like I said, even now, people are still talking about this. Like, I read TikTok comments, Facebook comments, YouTube comments, and people are still saying Finland were robbed. Finland were the real winner. Finland is the people's choice. And I talked about this in my review video of the final results, the whole Sweden winning controversy. We've talked about this before, but that reaction to Finland not winning is huge. Like, we've never seen so much support for something like we have for this. Like, to hear the crowd chanting "cha cha cha" after Sweden get 12 points, and then the hosts stood there and they have to shut people up. They stood there like shushing the crowd, like, everyone calm down. And that's how big this was, how big this reaction was, people just chanting for Karia in the arena and everywhere. So yeah, I mean, this is an iconic moment for sure, and it always will be. One of my favourite things about this song is the live performance and the live experience. I can't think of another song that gets the crowd going like this does, like that much, like the crowd roaring "cha cha cha." It just gives you goosebumps every time. And I had the pleasure of seeing this live in the arena in the semi-final one jury show, which will always be a highlight of my Liverpool experience, to see this live in the arena. And the funny thing is, so he performed last in semi-final one, and before he came on stage, we all just automatically stood up and just rose to our feet. We looked at each other like, oh, here we go, it's time for Finland. As if you're like standing for the national anthem. And it just gives you goosebumps, like, to hear that crowd reaction, which is a reaction that we haven't really heard before. Like, I can't think of a song that gets the crowd chanting as much as that. What I love about this song is not just the energy, like, it's an absolute banger, but also the fact of how unique and original it is. And it's got all these elements like rock, rap, metal, dance, like literally everything all in one. And it takes you on a journey. Like, this song is far from boring. It's the complete opposite of that. It's so dynamic. And it changes halfway through, but it works so well. That transition, it's just so original, so different from everything else, but it just works so well. And it's just so catchy and addictive. Like, I don't think it'll ever get old. Like, I don't think I'll ever get bored of this. Like, you just want to party. It's crazy, it's party. And the live performance is a journey as well. Like, starting off in the box. I love it when he throws the wood, like he knocks over all the planks of wood, and you hear it, like you hear him kicking it and knocking it over, and then he throws that piece behind his head. I just find that really funny. And that performance is so complex. Like, there's so many things that could have gone wrong in that, and it almost did as well in the final. But it's like this whole stage show, like there's so much going on, starting off in the box, and then the silhouette and the headbanging and the dancers. Shout out to the dancers, they do such a good job. They're amazing as well. And one of them is actually the head of UMK. I think he's on the delegation and he's in charge of UMK, but he's a dancer as well in this, and he got involved with Cha Cha Cha, and I love that. Yeah, I just love, the whole choreography, literally everything. Like, it's a journey, and it's a really fun and energetic journey. So I just think this is such an iconic moment that will never be forgotten. If it won, it would have been a lot more exciting, and people would have been a lot more excited. Like, the crowd were hyped already. Like, the crowd were behind him, rooting for him, like, in the voting before the results. So imagine if this won. Imagine the reaction that would have got and how happy people would have been. I do think it's a shame that Karia is competing in the same year as Loreen. I think if Loreen wasn't there, and maybe if he saved it for next year, if he was there next year or in a different year, then he probably could have won. So it's a shame that he had that competition with Loreen and that she was there sort of like in the way, you could say. So if Loreen wasn't there and he didn't have that competition, I do wonder if he would have won the whole thing, probably. So yeah, so many people were rooting for this, supporting this, but it does mean that he is a champion in his own way. Like, he is now a legend of Eurovision. I love him. I do think it's great that he won the televote, which we knew that he would, and did well with the jury as well. Like, he came fourth with the jury, which, as we know, is a winning position, because the past two winners came fourth with the jury, which made me think, yes, he's going to win. So close, but so far. I think I read somewhere that it's the only song that's got more than 500 points that didn't win. So he got more than 500 points overall, but didn't win, and it's the first time that's happened, apparently. But yeah, either way, this is an iconic song that I will always love, and it's a new favourite of mine of all time. So it's a song of the year for me, and I think it helps as well with Karia's charisma and personality. Like, you put that in the mix and it all comes together so well. So yeah, I can't wait to see what Karia does next. And I have been listening to his other music as well, and there's other songs apart from Cha 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 of his that I do really like. So yeah, we love discovering new music from Eurovision. That's great. So there we go. No surprises there at my number one. That is my current top 10 at the moment. After the final is all finished, so there's a few changes from before, songs that have grown on me and off me, and I do take the live performance into account as well. But then there's songs I've always loved right from the start and always will. So it doesn't change that much, but it does change a little bit. But that is my new top 10. So I'd love to know your top 10. Has it changed drastically since the final and since seeing performances live? If you got a new winner, maybe your mind has completely changed. Feel free to share your top 10 in the comments below and let me know if it's changed at all. And yeah, thank you for watching. That is it for this video. Thank you to new subscribers for joining me. I do have a few videos planned that I'm thinking of doing over the next few months, so I'm still going. But thank you for joining me on this journey. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you very soon. Thank you all. Bye.